Now, the third types of resources, which is human resources. Right. Now, what is this human resources here? As I said before, instead of this one, we'll use people, okay? People. People is an important resource, right? People is considered as an important resource. Now, when we say people, not all types of people it will come. Alright. When we say human resource or people as a resource, we refer to those human who has, again see here, this will come, who has this one. Now what is this here? This is knowledge, skills, right? So as I said before, what is the meaning of technology here? Technology means using latest knowledge and skills in doing something is called as technology. Okay, say for example, see here, I am one person, okay, human being. I have knowledge, alright, I have skills, alright, okay, so if I have these two, then only I will be called as resource. Got it? I'm called as human resource. Now suppose, again, I am a person here. If I don't have knowledge, if I don't have skills, if I am not educated, okay, if I am not healthy, right, okay, then I will not be called as a resource. You're getting me? Okay, so to call any people as a resource, that people or that human being must and should have this one, knowledge and then skills, which is nothing but it comes in technology. And then if that person has knowledge, skills, and if that person is making use of this technology, right, which is nothing but these two, then that people, that person, that human being is called as resources. Otherwise, all the people will not be a resource here. They will not be called as resources. Is that clear? Okay. So I repeat it again. A person which is not having knowledge, a person which is not having any skill, a person who has no technology, in short, okay, they cannot be called as human resource here. One thing. Then, as I said before, now if a person has such things, knowledge, skills, and if they are using it, if they are using technology, right, then what happens? People will be able to create more resources, right? They will be able to create more resources. Alright, okay, one thing. Then, not only this, if human resource, I'm taking here human resource, okay, a people or person who is having knowledge and skills, what they can do the best is they can make proper use of natural resources. Right? They can make proper use of natural resources which are available in nature and create more resources. Is that clear? So what is needed most in a country is a people called as human resources. In a country, we don't need a people who is not a human resource. Is that clear? Okay, one thing. Then, next one is, now, how can we make, okay, there is a question here, how can we make human resource? Or how can we produce a human resource? Now, or we can say like this, how can we make human as resource? So I'll write it here. How can we make human as resource? Okay, now to make human as resource, two factors plays a very important role. And this two factor is mentioned in your textbook. Okay, and these two factors are, one is education, another one is health. These two very important factor to make people as resource. Got it? If a people will get good education, they will get good knowledge. Also, from it, they will get skills, right? And second one, if they are healthy, okay, then they will become a resource here. Alright, so these two factors are very important. Now see here, as I said, these two factors are very necessary. If one is missing, then it will not become a resource here. That person will not become a resource here. Say for example, one person is having education. One person is very educated. Okay, having skills and everything. But he is not healthy. Then what is the use of it? Right? One thing. Second one, if one person is very healthy, very strong, very healthy, but if he lacks in this one, if he is not educated, if he is not having knowledge, if he is not having skills, then again, what is the use of it? To be a strong, to be a healthy person. Right? So, to become a resource, these two factors are very important factors. Alright? Okay. Then, with this, we have human resource development. What is the meaning of human resource development here? Okay, now what we have to do, see here, in every country, they wanted to develop human resources. Alright, if they are developing human resources, what will happen is human resource will go up. What will happen? Human resource will increase. If a country has more human resource, then it is good for a country, right? Okay. Now, what a country has to do is they have to create more human resource. Now, for the creation of human resource, education and health factor plays a very important role, which I have said before. A country has to invest in education, invest in health, so as to create human resource, or we can say to develop human resource. Right. Now, see here. Not only developing human resource, okay, with time, what they have to do is skill, as I said before. Human resource means a person which is having knowledge and skills. Now, being, or we can say having skills is not enough. With time, what they have to do is they have to improve their skills. Okay, not only skills, even knowledge also. Latest knowledge they have to acquire. They have to get it. Skills, if they are having, they have to improve their skills. So that if they do this, say for example, acquiring latest knowledge and improving their skills, what they can do is, or what human resource can do it, is that they can or they will be able to create more resources. Right? So by improving skills as well as knowledge, they will create more resources. So this one is called as human resource development. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. Now with this, we are done with the types of resources. The first one, natural resources. Second one, human-made resources. And third one is human resources. Now, brief recapitulation. In this, natural resources is what? The resources which we get from nature is called as natural resources. These things are free gifts of nature, right? Example 1, water resources. Now, under this one, we have different categories of natural resources. The first one was on the level of development, right? And the second one was we have on the level of or on the basis of origin. Third one we have on the basis of their stock. And the fourth one we have localized and ubiquitous resources, right? So we have seen some, say for example, actual resources, potential resources, right? And then we have seen biotic and abiotic resources. Then we have seen on the basis of stock or renewability, that is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. And then we have localized and ubiquitous resources, right? Then next one we have human-made resources, the resources which are made by the human, right? And then final we have human resource. When we say human resource, we refer to the people who has skills, who has latest knowledge, right? So those are considered as human resource. Topic is conserving resources. Now again, using an example of few resources. Okay, we have seen renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Now what is these two resources? As I said before, under this one we have example of coal, petroleum. And we will take up here example again, water. Coal and petroleum, examples of non-renewable. Water is renewable. What is this non-renewable resources? As I said, these resources are very limited in nature. Okay, we have to use such resources very cautiously, very carefully. Otherwise, what will happen is it will get exhausted. If it gets over, then to get it back, it will take thousands of years. Right? This we have seen. Whereas renewable are, which are abundant in nature, right? And supply is also more, right? Now see here, as I said before, example of non-renewable, coal and petroleum. So if we are not using such resources properly, then one day such resources will get over. It will finish. Right? We will not get it back. We do get it back. We will get it back. But it will take lots of time. Right? One thing. And even in renewable sources, I have taken here the example of water. Right? Now water is abundant in nature. Right? We can use this water again and again. Its supply is more, right? But you all know that though we have abundant water, but the fresh water comprises of very small percentage. Is that clear? The water which we use for our activities purpose, it is very less. So now what is happening nowadays is people are facing the problem of water shortage, right? Water scarcity problem, water shortage problem, even if this one is a renewable resources. Alright, now see here, in both the cases, as I said before, if we are not using the resources properly, whether renewable resources, this water, or non-renewable resources, what will happen is people will face problems. Right? So now what we have to do? We have to conserve resources. Is that clear? So these resources are very important for a human being. Right? So now what we have to do is we have to conserve such resources. So the first concept that you will get in this is what is the meaning of resource conservation. So we have resource conservation here. What is the meaning of resource conservation? It means we have to use resources carefully, right? And when we say we have to use resources carefully, without any wastage. Okay, without any wastage, we have to use the resources properly, as well as giving them enough time to get renewed is called as resource conservation. Alright, so what we have to do here, we have to use the resources carefully and we have to give them time to get it renewed. So that is called as resource conservation. Right? Okay. Now with related to this concept, we have another concept called as sustainable development. We have sustainable development. Now what is this sustainable development? What is the meaning of sustainable development here? Now this one, it is related to here. Okay, now see here, as I said before, carefully using resources. We have to make proper use of resources. We have to be very careful in making use of the resources which are available, right? So that we can meet our present requirements okay, so that we can meet our present requirements and also resources can be present, or we can say resources will be available for use for future generation, not only for us. Okay, at present we are making use of all the resources that are found in nature. Okay, so for our needs, for our requirements, at present we are making use of it. But when we are making use of such resources, we have to see that not only us, but even our future generation, they will get opportunity to use the resources. Is that clear? So that is called as sustainable development. Okay, so I'll write it here, future. Got it? Now see here, what is resource conservation? Resource conservation means we have to make proper, carefully use of resources without wasting it. What is sustainable development here? At present, we are using resources, right? When we are using resources, we have to be very careful in using resources. As I said before, some resources like coal and petroleum, they will get over. They will finish, right? So, if we are not making proper use of such resources, if we are wasting such resources, then what happens is for future generation people, they will not get such resources to use it. Okay, so what we have to do under sustainable development is we have to save such resources also for future generations too, for their use. Not only at present, we have to fulfill our requirements. So this is called as sustainable development. Alright? Okay. Now next one we have is, what are the ways to conserve resources? Okay, now we have to see here ways to conserve resources. Ways to conserve resources. We have three ways. Usually we call it as 3 R's. Okay, 3 R's. What is this 3 R? The first one is reduce. Second one is recycle. And the third one is reuse. R1, R2, R3. 3 R's. This we have to adopt to conserve resources. Alright. Now what is this? This is very simple. We have to reduce what? Consumption of resources. What we have to do? We're making use of resources, right? So that use, we have to reduce it. Consumption, we have to reduce it. Alright. So if we are reducing it, that means resources will be available for future generations too. Right? Then we go for what we have to do to conserve resources. We have to go for recycle. Okay. Now, this is happening nowadays. Recycle, which means to collect the waste. Okay, to collect the waste and then use it to make new products. Is recycle. Okay, now in this we'll give example of one thing, right? Now we will take up here paper. Paper is a resource, right? Now we have lots of waste paper. Waste paper in homes. Under this one, example, newspaper we will take up, right? After reading it, it has become a waste, right? Now, this newspaper, what we have to do? Now, recycle. Okay. Now, using newspaper, waste newspaper, we can turn it into new products, right? So say for example, out of old or out of waste newspaper, we can make new products. Like say for example, tissues we can make, toilet paper we can make from it, right? So that is called as recycling. Recycle. Is that clear? So see here, I have taken here one example of resource here. So without wasting this resource, the waste resource, without throwing such paper, right? So what we can do is, we can recycle it, okay, and turn it into new products. So this resources is not getting waste here. Is that clear? Okay, one thing. And then finally we have reuse it. Some resources we can reuse it. Just simple example I will give. Okay, I have a pen here. Alright. So, when this pen ink is over, usually we does is we throw it away, right? Most often we throw it away. But instead of throwing it away, the outer part, we can keep it, we can reuse it, and the inner part, we can refill it. Right? So what is happening here? We are reusing it. Is that clear? Okay. Likewise, same, say for example, water. Water, we can reuse it. Okay. By treating it. Is that clear? Okay. So, these 3 R's is very important to conserve resources. Reduce, recycle, and reuse are the 3 ways to conserve resources.